was a few years ago before Corona. I was giving my morning shiur to men, and there was a man there, 45 years old, and he's looking at me, and I see he wants to ask a question, but he's having trepidation, he's nervous, he's anxious. So I encourage him, I say, Frag, ask. No. I push him, ask, I want to hear your question. Nah, it's a stupid question. I'm like, I'm not continuing this class till you ask your question. I love stupid questions because they're usually the most brilliant questions. So he asked a question. It was a good question. I answered the question, we went on. At the end of the class, I said, I'm just wondering, do you know why you were so afraid of asking the question? Everybody asks questions there. I don't mind, I like questions. So he says, yeah, I'll tell you the story. And he says it in front of everybody. He says he was a boy in grade 2, and they were learning Parshas Boy. And Parai tells Moshe Rabbeinu that the women and the youth he should leave in Egypt. The elders can leave. So Moshe says, we're going to go with our youth and with our elders. And then he says, Bebaneinu, with our sons and with our daughters, Nelech will go. Why does it say twice Nelech in the pasuk? Could have just said one sentence. The teacher, who didn't have such pedagogical sensitivity, says, oh, these questions you'll ask for the Seder. This is not a question you ask. It's a foolish question. And he told me since then, whenever a child asked a question and they wanted to make fun of the question, they would say, Binaraini ubiskenaini. I never asked a question again in my life. So this is the first time I asked a question in class at the age of 45. That's why I was hesitant. At the shiur sitting the chassan last night, Yisrael Lam is his name, Mazel Tov to the Lam and Meisel's family. And he says, let me tell you my story. He was learning here in Monsey, and he said, I asked a question. I was also in second grade. And when I finished asking the question, the teacher says, Yisrael, come with me to the principal's office. I'm like, oh, you're not allowed to ask questions? I'm going to be punished? It was an innocent question. I'm like, oh, what did I do? He brings me to the principal's office. I go into the office, and he tells the principal, this boy asked a question. It was such a beautiful question. I was so inspired by it. I wanted the principal should hear, ask the question again. And he asked the question again, and the principal gives him a big piece of chocolate for asking such an amazing question. And Yisrael looks at the class, he said, and since then I didn't stop asking questions. It's one word that shatters somebody's dignity or builds somebody's dignity. It's so important, especially people in education. Don't be stingy with warmth.
TheYeshiva.net